This is Theola Ross. She is a dancer and filmmaker from a remote First Nation, Pimicamac Cree Nation, sometimes called Cross Lake, about 500 kilometers north of Winnipeg. Now, 2 years ago, a suicide crisis thrust her community into the national spotlight. 6 people took their own lives in the span of just 3 months. Many more were said to be at risk. As part of National Indigenous History Month, CBC Short Docs has been working with Indigenous filmmakers, giving them a platform to share their stories through their eyes. And tonight, we showcase Ross's. She returned to her community several times in 2016 to document how a group of teenagers are using square dance to cope with the trauma. They are called the Twilight Dancers.
I always get a really good feedback on what I do on behalf of my performances. They just say, oh, it's just jigging, Des. No, it's not just jigging. It's actually something I grew up doing, something I love to do.
Wait, which one do you want to pick?
Cherish, come here. You have to come and comb your hair too.
That's it.
Cross Lake competition is happening right now. Square dancing is on Saturday. Sometimes we win and sometimes we don't, but it's all about having fun.
Cherish and Demi, you should start going to the school. They're having a floor hockey tournament outside or something.
Oh, yeah.
I was dancing since I was like 5 years old, man. Since I was a little boy. I remember my first time, I was in my mom's living room. And everyone was dancing, And one of my brothers is like, Des, astam atino. And that's when I was like, why? What are you gonna do to me, man? It's like, Nime. And so I tried it. It didn't work out well. It was funny and kind of embarrassing. This is what my brother always used to say to me. Just because you don't know how to dance now doesn't mean that you'll never know how to dance in the future.
Okay, Alicia, ready? Come on, go. Yeah, you're Demi, you're Chloe.
I love teaching square dancing, honestly. Not only for future generations, but to help them. It helps even when you're going through a lot in life. Not only I'm teaching them, but I'm also teaching myself. Not just to become a better dancer, but to also to become a better person.
Stage is right there.
One time, please just have to start. After that,
When the music starts, you have to tell your team 1, 2, 3, and then you start dancing all together. To know when you're going to make a move, you have to say how.
Square dancing, I think, was always part of the culture growing up, old times, eh? Both my grandpas played fiddle, and they held dances in a local hall here. They would square dance there and have a little competition.
I think square dancing came from white people. I don't know.
The colonizers did bring the square dance in terms of teams and whatnot, eh? But there was, of course, the First Nations people incorporated some of their moves into the dance, eh? The colonizers, they just used their feet. Not so much the body, eh? Then First Nations incorporated their dancing into the whole body, right? That's the influence the First Nations had on square dancing.
Some kids like to judge and like act how they dance. Bullying, it happens a lot in like suicides.
Everybody out there, doesn't matter if it's child and going on to elder, everybody's in pain. Why would they do such a thing to take their own life? Some people don't even know how to express themselves no more because there's barely people out there listening.
Some people like commit suicide is because they get bullied. People like to bring down each other on social media. They like to judge in there and tease and everything else.
I kind of do like living here and I kind of don't. Sometimes I like staying here because of the bullying.
I don't like bullying is because I lost a good friend of mine to it and suicide. It's really hard.
I haven't danced last festival and I didn't dance in Indian Days. Due to the suicide epidemic and what was going on, I couldn't do it. The most tragic thing that happened to me in my life was losing a brother. It was very devastating. I grew up in a violent place. Couldn't focus on school because due to like getting bullied because of the color I wear. We kind of join that violence, but that's the past. A past that I probably never want to go back to, never. People are dreaming of what? Cars or a nice house or something, you know? My dream was to dance with my brother, to light up that stage.
Indigenous Twilight dancers. Way to go there, Twilight dancers.
That's how you dance. Woo! Make the crowd go wild.
Gagano gan istutta meg. Tanjaman. Tapwe. Kawina Kiam tayo mo. Kapi sa taman. Tapagitsian. Nataw mo metonanske kon tatuttaman. What segusi? The last fewest words my brother told me. Those words that got me going every day in life throughout those years. Kawina wigats pagitsi. Which means never give up. And so I took it.
Twilight dancers.
Desmond Kalam.
Everybody in this community, as we speak, is a survivor. They survived through that 2016 and through the roughest year, toughest. We're hurt, we're damaged, we're broken, but we're still standing strong. And that's the important thing about this community. No matter what happens to each and every one of us out here, all I know that every individual in this community is one tough warrior.
As I mentioned earlier, the filmmaker Theola Ross is herself a dancer and says she has fond memories of her family tapping their toes to the Red River Jig. Coincidentally, Desmond, the dance teacher you just saw in the film, showed the CBC Art Studio how to do it.
Step 1, heel toe tap. So go 1, 2, we'll try this like 4 times. Boom. But at the same time, we're gonna have to hop a little bit. Yeah. Get a little movement into it, you know?
The Red River Jig is a traditional Indigenous dance, and yes, there are a lot of intricate steps, but Desmond says practice makes perfect, so if you want to follow along and master it, head on over to cbc.ca/arts. And you can see more short docs by Indigenous filmmakers at cbc.ca/short docs. The National will showcase more of their stories throughout the month.